good morning, friends. It's Tracey from Tea Time with Tracey and friends. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to do my very first book haul of the year. It is, I have a nice big box here. Boris just walked over. I just washed my face. It's all kind of haggard. My house is asleep, actually. It's from Book Outlet here in Canada. It says, warning, may contain awesome books. So, oh my goodness, did you hear that? It was Boris. You're full of hot air there, bud. I even got it on camera. Books. So, we're going to open this up. Let's see if it'll actually work. As those, I haven't bought books. Well, yeah, not like I used to, that's for sure. Boris. She's chock-a-block-a full. I can remember what I ordered. I've had this box for about a week. I just haven't opened it yet, so let's just dig right in. Model Home by River Solomon. I read all the backs of these like when I ordered them. I had seen somebody talking about this like last year, but I see more and more people talking about it. It's a haunted house kind of story. Follows these 2 or 3 children that move to this predominantly white neighborhood as when they're children. They're the only black family in the area, and the people are nice for the most part, but strange things start happening. And the kids really don't like it at this house. Anyways, the parents are determined to make it in this neighborhood. And then you fast forward to when they're older, I think, like grown-ups. Once they become of age and are able to leave, they go and leave because they feel something's not right with this house. And they're not sure whether it's something supernatural or if it's the neighborhood, if you know what I'm saying. But their parents pass away suspiciously, and they have to come back to this house somewheres in Texas and sort out the house, you know, if their parents pass away. Anyways, I think they're confronted with some sort of something, whether it's supernatural or not. I don't know. It's haunted house flipped on its head is what, there was a blurb about that. So, yeah, haunted house. I love haunted house books. I know it's hard to get an original haunted house story because they're kind of carbon copy, but I still like them. I do. All right, another one. All Hallows by Christopher Golden. I read the Eret, and I just recently put a Christopher Golden book on Road of Bones for a readathon that I'm doing, which that's a horror. He writes horror. Anyways, this one follows, I'll probably read it this fall. It happens on Halloween night, I think. 1984, follows a group of oddball kids, and they're running to try to hide. They're hoping that some of the other kids will help them hide because they feel like they're being chased by the Cunning Man. So I'm not sure if that's a monster, if that's something they read in books, if that's whatever, but they are dressed in the, you know, 80s costumes from the 80s. I was a kid in the 80s. I know all about it, the trashy kind of cheap stuff. But anyways, they're trick-or-treating and they feel like they're being followed, and they're hoping some of the kids will help. They want to go in, when they trick-or-treat, try to go into the house to get away from this person, but people think it's just a trick, or kids are not going to help other oddball outcast kids. And there's a new clearing in the woods close to the town that just suddenly appeared, and I think that's where they think this cunning man is coming from. I'm not really too sure, but you can see this kind of looks like a pumpkin face with the candles in the eyes, and I think this would be phenomenal for around Halloween time. I mean, I'd read it anytime, but I might try to save this for then. So this one, I had no idea it's a little tiny friggin' novella. I don't read novellas very often. I thought this was a full-length book. I had no idea. This is about a young lady going to a mental institution for extreme depression. I'm just trying to think what this was. I gotta turn this light on just a sec. It turns everything all yellow. The cave beneath the dense forest and stream surface to the moon. Gargantuan spider once lived. Its silk granted the first worshippers immense faculties of power and awe. It's now 1921, and Veronica Brinkley is touched down on the moon for her intake at the Barrowfield House for treatment of the melancholy. That makes it sound like she's going to someplace because she's very sad and depressed. And this Whackers, Crackers, Doctors is trying a new method. I don't know whether it's literally he's implanting things from this giant spider, like this spider is apparently dead, but by the sounds of it, the spider used to grant people immense power, and if this doctor's using some of the silk from the spider that's long dead to put into their brains, the client's brains, things go crazy, which it should anyways, for goodness sakes. I'm really not too sure. I'm a little disappointed this isn't a big book, but there must be more to it. I think it might be like, book 1 of the Lunar Gothic trilogy. Well, I should have just put it all in one big book. But if I can find if I read this and I like this and want to continue this, I will get the other 2. I do like the cover though. And I do like that it's the home for treatment of the melancholy. Yeah, that one. Oh, I've never read a Bentley Little book. I think there's another one in here. This is another haunted house story. This follows Bram Stoker award-winning author. This follows a family, a husband and wife and 2 kids, I believe, move into this house, and things start going sideways, apparently. I think the wife starts to feel like there's something wrong. Just keep repeating, there's nothing in the basement, there's nothing in the basement, there's nothing in the basement. I don't really know what this is all about, but it's a haunted house story, and it's also blurbed The Horror Poet by Stephen King. The dark is watching. Yeah. Anyways, haunted house. Okay. The Black Feathers by Rebecca Neatley. I read The Whistling by Rebecca Neatley last year, I think. I still have it. I really enjoyed it. It's extremely atmospheric. It took place on an island and stuff like that. So I wanted to read another book of hers. This takes place in the moors. Are the moors in Scotland? Or just, I don't know. When I think of the moors, I think of foggy and rolly hills and cool, dense. Anyways, this follows a young woman. She goes to marry a widowed man in this isolated manor that's located in the moors. His sister still lives there, who is a little eccentric. she is finding this more of an escape to go and marry this man. I'm not sure why. She's young, I'm assuming, and just trying to escape something. She goes to marry this widower man, and it's beautiful. I'm assuming Rebecca's going to make this world beautiful and atmospheric, and that's her subtle horror. But since his sister lives there, she gives the main character a warning to just watch for black feathers. That means a spirit has been close by. And there's a sneaking suspicion something mysterious happened to her husband's previous wife. And I'm thinking it's the sister's way of giving her a heads up that something is not right with her husband. I'm not sure. But soon, I believe this female main character starts to see black feathers, or finding some black feathers around. I'm not sure. I love black feathers. I have a whole bunch right there. Anyways, I'm not really sure. It's I've only ever read that one book of hers, and it's very subtle. It is horrifying, but it's like a subtle, tense, drawn out, dreadful kind of horror. So that one. All right. I can't think of what that is. The next one is Silver Nitrate by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I got this because my daughter read this book. Just a minute. I forget what this is about. Okay. I just read the back. This follows a young woman. She's a talented sound editor back in the 90s in Mexico City, but that's more of a boys' club. And she seems to be pushed out and pushed out. Her best friend is the ex-soap opera star. His name is Tristan. And Tristan has a new neighbor. This neighbor is a cult filmmaker that has been down on hard times. But one of those, star, cult book movies. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, he's a disgraced film director, but he's trying to convince the main female character in here and her best friend to be in this film that he did create, but he never was able to finish because something happened. And he's trying to convince them to finish the last scene. They were never in this movie, but it'll break the curse that this director thinks that he's under. And this movie is about his tale of Nazi occultists doing magic into volatile silver nitrate stock. Sounds like sheer fantasy. I'm not sure if that's what the movie is supposed to be about, or there's some sort of silver nitrate volatile actual film, because the two main characters start to feel like they're being followed. Tristan sees the ghost of his ex-girlfriend. I'm not really too sure. My daughter said she liked it. She read the Mexican Gothic, and she did like that one better than this one. But it'll be my first Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And this is large print. It's large, Marge. Anyways, well, that'll certainly make for easy reading. I don't know. I think I'll be able to explain it better when I actually read it. I'm not quite understanding, but if it takes place in the 90s, that'll be kind of cool. I never lived in Mexico City, but it'll give me a nice little peek into what the world might have been like then. So, oh, The Return by Rachel Harrison. This will be my first Rachel Harrison book. This, I don't know if it's more horror or thriller. This follows, I think, 4 friends, very close-knit friends, and at some point, one of their friends goes missing. And it's 2 years later, like they think she's gone and forgotten and she's never coming back. Something horrible happened. She just up and disappears. And then, but except for one of them, believe she's still out there. She's going to come back someday. 2 years later, she does come back. She has no memory of what happened to her. She's not quite the same, though. That's the thing. Excuse me. So they decide to go away on a little girls' vacation to celebrate and, you know, friends again. We're all back together. But they notice something's really strange with their friend that came back. She's very sullen. She's lethargic. She has a strange diet. She's just not acting like the same friend she was before she left. And I'm not sure whether this is, I really don't know if it's horror or thriller, but it wasn't very expensive, and it's really not very big. I didn't realize it was not very big. The Return. Oh, here's another Bentley Little book. This sounds like kind of Whackers Crackers. Yeah. In Beverly Hills, a wealthy CEO goes on a bloody rampage and videotapes the slaughter. He leaves behind a chilling cryptic message. This is where it begins. Miles away, an alarmed mother receives an unsettling letter from an estranged husband stained with bloody fingerprints. And all across California, children are becoming affected by a monstrous change in their parents by a mounting fear. Social worker Carrie Daniels and reporter Brian Howells are determined to find the link between these baffling crimes. But they shouldn't look too deeply into the lives of these victims. It's quite dark, and God help them, they won't like what they find. I just bought it just so I can give Bentley Little more than one chance. And I like the abandoned kind of house on the cover. That's literally why I bought it. The Vanishing. So I think it's just a wrinkle in time where everybody in California or North America goes crazy and strange thing happens to the kids. I don't know. Oh, Schrader's Chord. Is that what it's called? By Scott Leeds. I like this because it's a record and a skull. This follows after his estranged father's mysterious death. Charlie Remnick returns to Seattle to help with his funeral. His estranged father left him the keys to the record store that he owned before he passed. What happens? I think he brings along a friend, Charlie, and I'm not sure. Anyways, they find this black case in this record store, and there's a warning with it. If played, it can open up doors to let monstrous things from other worlds come in. And Charlie and his sister and their two friends play the records. They open the floodgates to unspeakable horrors, and the darkness descends. They are stalked by a relentless, malevolent force and see the dead everywhere they turn. This reminds me of, what is that movie? There's two of them. It has Jack Black and The Rock, and I forget what it's called. Jumanji. Only horror. This is what it sounded like to me. They're going to be stalked by monstrous things, and they got to try to get the monstrous things back in the bottle. I don't know exactly, but it's a record store, haunted record that opens to horrific things. So that sounds pretty cool to me. All right, the next one. Ooh, this is a beautiful edition. It's big and it's big and it's hard. It sounds really inappropriate. This is the Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. He's the guy that wrote American Psycho and Less Than Zero. I have Less Than Zero, but I haven't read it yet. I haven't read American Psycho, but I really plan on reading both of those, honestly. This was on the book outlet site, not very much, like less than $10, and it's a nice big hardback. Anyways, this happens, this takes place in Los Angeles, I believe, in the 1980s. Yeah, 17-year-old Brett is a senior at an exclusive Buckley prep school when a student arrives with a mysterious past. Robert Mallory is bright, handsome, and charismatic, and shielding a secret from Brett and his friends, even as Robert becomes part of their tightly knit circle. Brett apparently gets extremely obsessed with this new friend that comes, very suspicious. Also, what's going on at the same time as Brett and his friends, seniors in school, there's a serial killer in the community, and he gets extremely obsessed with the serial killer as well. So I think his life spirals out of control, obsessing over this new student in the school and this new serial killer in the area. And he goes a little whackers crackers. And he's trying to hold it together, but all he can see is coincidences and patterns between this new person and the serial killer. And how come they can't be the same person? They have to be the same person. But is this his mind going crazy, or is this actually valid? And does he say it out loud and look crazy to his friends and family, or does he internalize all this stuff until he can figure it all out? These are the kind of books, apparently, that Bret Easton Ellis writes. So I'm not sure, but I am so happy I have this book, and I'm so happy it's such a nice one. This one I'm very excited for. Songs of Callie by Dan Simmons. I really like Dan Simmons. I haven't read all his books, but I'm determined to read all of his books. I have read The Terror, Carrying Comfort, Summer of Night, Children of the Night, A Winter Haunting. Is that it? I don't know. I've been reading some of his books. This is his debut book, I think from 1980 something. I'm not sure, but this follows 1985. This follows a man who is on a mission to find, I won't, to find, yes I will, just a minute. Winner of the World Fantasy Award. Alright, I just had to reread this again. I thought I knew, and I kind of knew. Anyways, this follows an intellectual, very high up, educated intellectual, and his family go to Calcutta in India. He's going mainly to find the manuscripts of this famous poet, this dead poet that died 6 years ago, and he's sure that they're in India, and he thinks he knows where they are, and he brings his family along, I'm assuming to have a vacation all at the same time. Anyways, where he goes to the underbelly of India, a city in India like Calcutta, and he gets tangled up in the cult of Kali. And I guess this is very descriptive of the seedy underbelly, filth and drugs and violence, and he's there with his family. That would be terrifying, being anywheres with my family and things go haywire. So I believe this is a culty book, part horror, part fantasy, culty. So yeah, it's gonna be his debut novel, and I thought I'll start at the source and read this and then slowly make my way through the rest of his books. So that. All right, I got one thriller. I'm not the biggest thriller person, but I feel like I'm starting to get into them again. I seen somebody mention this, and I can't remember who. This follows a married couple. They're going on this big cruise, and it's their honeymoon, and they're so excited to go and, you know, start their life together, how lovey-dovey and whatnot. So they spend the first night, and it's, you know, food and fun and dancing and partying and everything. Anyways, they go to bed that night. Everything's hunky-dory. I believe the woman wakes up the next day and her husband isn't there. She goes out in the hall and all the cabin doors are open and there's nobody there. She looks all over the ship and there's not one single person left on this cruise ship. That's how it was told to me on a video. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. And this is a thriller. How can this be? Where would everybody go? What would I do if I was in this boat is steaming out in the middle of the ocean? Where are you going to end up? Is it going to run out of gas? Like, I I don't know anything about boats, especially big ships like that. There's probably enough food, but anyways, you'd be panicking. Your newly husband and anybody else is on these cruise ships. I've never been on a cruise, but it holds hundreds of people. Maybe more, I have no idea. And there's not one single person on this boat. How is this story gonna unfold? So the last one by Will Dean, I don't know. That just sounded very intriguing to me. I want to find out what this story is. I hope it's good because I'm like, how could a whole, unless, well, they must have all just been thrown out in the ocean. I don't know. Unless it's supernatural, but if it's supernatural, it wouldn't be a thriller. Unless it's a paranormal thriller. I don't know. But unless it's going to have one of those twists at the end that it was all in her mind, which would, that'll make me mad. I don't know. I just thought I would try this one because it sounded good. The next one is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I read The Fireman not last month, the month before. That was my first Joe Hill book, and that was like a survival kind of book, and I really liked it. So I thought I would try another book of his. I had seen people talking about this for years, for quite a long time, but I was just like, whatever. Not that I had anything against him, I just never picked him up. Anyways, I did pick up The Fireman, I did read it, and I did like it. So I got this less than $10, and it's heart-shaped box, and this follows, I think, rock and roll person who's kind of, his heyday is done. So that's fine. Everybody grows older, but he is into collecting oddities like, what did they say? A used hangman's noose, cookbook for cannibals, a snuff film, which that sounds illegal. I don't know why you'd want a hangman's noose. A used one. You know what I mean? Anyways, he ends up buying this suit, this old man's suit. I don't know whether this person died in it or was buried in it and it was exhumed and now he has the suit. I'm not sure, but it comes in this heart-shaped box. And he likes the macabre stuff. Anyways, ever since he's got this suit, he seems to be haunted by this old man ghost. I don't think the ghost does anything, but anytime he goes somewhere, there's always this old man ghost in the corner of a room. And I guess it's attached to this suit that he collected. And I don't know if that's good or bad. We have ghosts all around us anyways, but if there's this creepy old man, I don't know whether he's good or bad. So I just thought I would try this. It's not a big book. I just want to try Joe Hill, another one of his books. I know he has Nosferatu. I know he has other books, and if I like this one, I'll pick up another one. I don't know, but that. Now, last but not least, for this haul anyways, another thriller, I believe, hardback, Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett. I've never read this person either. This sounded kind of like a haunted house, but I don't know. In the beginning of this book, I think it follows a couple of friends, and they go out in the woods, and there's a house there that there's a legend, or there's a man killed his wife and 2 kids in this house, and this house has been abandoned and the forest has grown up all around it. So as teenagers, they go into this house just to, you know, investigate like teenagers do. Anyways, they end up leaving because something scares the bejesus out of them. Only one of the friends feels like something happened to her, and part of her has always stayed at that house. Something, I'm assuming that's why they leave, something spooked one of the friends really bad, and a part of her spirit maybe might have been chained to the house of some sort. I'm not sure, but they end up leaving. Then fast forward 20 years or whatever, one of the friends gets a call that her old childhood friend went back to this house and tried to commit suicide. Only now she's in a coma. And the friend that got the call is in dire straits anyways, so she ends up going back to her hometown to try to figure out what happened. Why would she even go back to that house? And is there something supernatural going on, or is there something more realistic going on? I'm not sure if this is a haunted house book or if it's just people, which people are more terrifying than supernatural stuff in my opinion. But yeah, I just thought I would try this horror thriller. I don't know, but that's it. So that's my first haul. This went longer than I thought, but anyways, I have a few more books coming on the way, so that'll be in a different haul. But I just thought I'd like to put all of these books away right there, and it'll make me feel happy. So with that, I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose, but if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So, okay, guys, with that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning, and I will see you next time. Bye. Boink.